How do I sound talking like this?
Yeah, all good, mate.
All good. Right, let's turn him down.
Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock and you're listening to Solent Sports News. I'm Luke Wallace. The future of Chelsea could be at risk. The club must be sold within the next 81 days, otherwise it could cease to exist. It's believed there are up to 10 interested parties at this time, but Thomas Tuchel has praised his side for staying focused.
Distraction, another level of distraction actually with the sanctions, and we could feel it, that the players talk about it, that they're aware of it, and we accepted it. But like I said, I think the rhythm and the excitement and the love for the game in general helps us.
As Russia's invasion of Ukraine refuses to relent, the sanctions will only increase for the oligarchs and their international assets, meaning as time goes on, Chelsea are becoming more and more at risk. Ryan Honey joins us now with more.
Hi Luke, I'm outside St Mary's, the home of Southampton Football Club, a stadium Chelsea will have to travel to in just over 3 weeks' time. The Saints, who have been through money troubles of their own in the past, have not long welcomed new owners. Chelsea, on the other hand, now face an agonising wait to the end of their season as their ownership crisis continues. Roman Abramovich is obviously the talking point, and Blues players, staff and fans all unsure of their immediate future at the club, as the 81-day limit to find an owner will be massive in the few weeks left in their history. Back to you in the studio, Luke.
Well, the boys have put a small package for us together, and here it is now.
Roman Abramovich has now been added to the UK sanctions list.
Chelsea fans, brace yourself. Fernando Torres, £50 million, and it's a 5.5-year deal.
And they have just clinched their 14th major trophy since the arrival of their Russian billionaire owner, Roman Abramovich.
In uncharted times, football continues to prove a significant part of society, with the latest mix of sports and politics coming to a head in Russia's barbaric invasion of Ukraine. As the British government tightens its sanctions on Russian oligarchs, Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich has had his assets frozen due to alleged links with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Chelsea now face an uncertain future, with announced sanctions meaning they are unable to sign or sell players, generate income through merchandise or any other revenue stream, and season ticket holders are the only ones who can attend fixtures. Doubt encompasses Europe, and as demonstrated in this week's sanctions placed on Chelsea, it has pervaded into the sport we love. Matt Lawton, the Times' chief sports reporter, spoke to Solent Sports News on the disarray unfolding at Stamford Bridge.
They are blocked from selling the club. I do think by next week they will be granted a second licence. It will come with heavy restrictions, but I think they will be given a licence that will enable the sale of the club to go ahead. Further to that is the simple truth that as a business it loses about £100 million a year.
With Chelsea's fortunes changing each day, very few can predict what happens next. In a written statement, the Chelsea's official supporters trust said,
"Supporters must be involved in any conversation regarding ongoing impacts on the club and its global fan base. The Chelsea Supporters Trust implores the government to conduct a swift process to minimise the uncertainty over Chelsea's future for supporters, and for supporters to be given a golden share as part of the sale of the club."
Essentially, the whole process has added a great deal of uncertainty to an already uncertain situation after Abramovich's announcement that he was going to sell the club. It's difficult to see how that can be done under the current licence, though I believe the government is saying that other licences can be applied for if the opportunity arises. There are still two parties looking to move ahead with the takeover process, I believe.
Those were the words of Scott Trotter, Chelsea correspondent for Football London. Chelsea are set to play Newcastle United side next, with their ownership also linked to a state-funded country. Eddie Howe's team and their newly inherited Saudi Arabian riches make the trip to Stamford Bridge on Sunday lunchtime. Chelsea, in the most obvious sign of how Russian sanctions will continue to impact on the pitch, are set to play without a sponsor on their shirt, as mobile company 3 withdrew their sponsorship. London-based football journalist Rob Harris has more.
the assets have not been seized from Abramovich, they've only been frozen. So it is still his asset, Chelsea Football Club, of which he does still control. So how much would it need him to approve that sale still? And how willing would he be to accept at what price, and what price would be acceptable to him?
While the Blues are still able to fulfil fixtures and operate, the club's need to find a suitable new owner will be a difficult one, with sanctions imposing just 81 days to secure a vital takeover. More turmoil awaits.
Elsewhere in football, the French Football Federation have announced a major shake-up to the awarding of the Ballon d'Or. The award will now be counted across the season as opposed to the calendar year. Football figures as well as journalists will pick the 30-man shortlist, and only the top 100 countries will get a vote. Lionel Messi won the award for a record 7th time last year, just ahead of Poland's Robert Lewandowski. Across the Atlantic now into golf, with Britain's Tommy Fleetwood setting the pace at the Players' Championship. The Englishman carded a 6-under round of 66 to share the lead with Tom Hogue, but half of the field were unable to complete their rounds after a storm delayed the start. Despite this, the course was in perfect condition, according to Fleetwood.
Today, I know we had a lot of waiting around, but we had, like, the ones that have had a full round in, we actually had amazing conditions to score in. It was soft. We were playing preferred lies, and there was never loads of wind. So, but you still got to hit the shots, and really happy to be done and see what happens over the next few days now.
At the Winter Olympics, Team GB have claimed their first ever snowboard medal. Ollie Hill collected the bronze in the bank slalom event in Beijing after coming third in his 2 runs in the lower limb category. Teammate Owen Pick finished 4th and missed out on a medal by less than 0.2 of a second. In cricket, West Indies have a slim lead over England going into the second innings in Antigua. Narine Bonner's century fired the Indies to 375 all out, putting them ahead by just 64 runs. Alex Lees has already been dismissed for just 6, and the visitors currently trail by 36, sitting at 28 for 1. On to basketball now, and the Solent Kestrels have been at it again. Here's Josh Masoki covering their latest historical feat.
And Solent get back to doing what they do best, and that is win. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up, and they stay there.
Southampton's very own Solent Kestrels made history this week, becoming the first National Basketball League Division 1 squad since 1932 to win 4 consecutive titles. They sealed the victory with a comprehensive 119-44 victory over the Essex Rebels to add to their 22-2 win-loss record with 4 games remaining.
We had our slip-ups in the first half of the year, and now you can tell, this new year, we flipped the script, we found out from a coaching perspective and individual as players and collectively as players what works, and we're just trying to stick with it. Don't fix what's not broken.
That was Kestrels forward Travis Charles addressing the squad's mindset during some early season hurdles. Alongside their historical dominance, the Kestrels are hoping to complete a full sweep of silverware this season, with their focus set on pairing the playoff championship with the National Cup trophy they seized at the start of the year. Sustained success at this level is no easy feat. A lot of hard work behind closed doors and an attention to detail went into building a championship culture.
It's basically just making practice the hardest games that we have all year. We put the work in, so we do video scouting sessions, we run through our plays week in, week out, we change things for each game to specific to who we're playing, so that helps us get an upper hand on the other team as well.
The Southampton fans have long been an integral staple of Kestrels fixtures, and so their return to the stands following 2 years of COVID guidelines made this season even sweeter for everyone involved.
It's brilliant. Watching behind the screen last year was great. You still get to see it. The stream was brilliant, but this year just being there in person is absolutely great. Seeing all the players, because I know quite a few of them quite well, so it's great to see them play and great to see them together in a team.
Hi, I'm Elliot Dads. I play for Solent Kestrels, Team Solent Kestrels captain. The next thing for us is finishing out season, finishing out playoffs. We've got playoffs to come up. It's going to be real intense. There's still teams fighting for 8th spot that we're in for a chance to win the league at the start of the season. So it's a good chance to really test ourselves in playoffs, try and finish the season out, and then next year it's just continuing to build. Whoever's here, whoever's not here, it's just continuing to build that same mindset, that same mentality.
As Solent wraps up the remainder of the regular season, they now look ahead to the looming playoff opener on Saturday the 2nd of April, with their 8th seeded opponent yet to be confirmed.
Over to rugby now, and Maro Itoje is a doubt for England's clash with Ireland tomorrow. The 27-year-old missed training today, but Eddie Jones' side are cautiously optimistic he'll be fit for the game. Elsewhere, the Six Nations action returns tonight as Wales take on France, who Wayne Pivac has described as the most informed team in the world. And finally, day 2 of F1's final pre-season test is well underway. Esteban Ocon was fastest for Alpine this morning ahead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, whilst Brits Lando Norris and George Russell were 5th and 9th respectively. Lower down the field, Nicholas Latifi's car caught fire while Seb Vettel and Valtteri Bottas also stopped out on track. In this afternoon's session, Carlos Sainz is currently fastest ahead of Max Verstappen, but the headline is all about Kevin Magnussen's return to F1 for the first time since 2020, after he was announced as the late replacement for the sacked Nikita Mazepin. Here's how the opportunity came up for the Danish driver in his own words.
Günther called me about a week ago or something like that and asked me if I would be interested. And, we talked about things and, I pretty quickly said, look at this, see if we can do it. And then, a couple of days passed and he was sorting some things out and, then he came back and said, okay, let's go for it.
And finally, the LGBTQ plus community is forever striving for a wider level of acceptance within sport, and it's an issue that deserves discussion. Angus Sinclair took a deeper dive into the issue.
If we can use our platform to, take steps and to signal to everyone else that it's okay to be who they are, then I think that that's our responsibility.
Representation of the LGBTQ plus community within sport has come a long way in recent years, but that is not to say that there isn't room for improvement. According to a survey conducted by Gay Times, 33% of LGBTQ plus football fans said that they didn't feel accepted at a match. Presenter of the BBC's LGBT Sport podcast, Jack Murley, recognised the issues within the modern landscape of social media, but also indicated that it can be used to bring about a positive change.
Social media doesn't help. It creates a really negative environment, but it's also the mechanism through which inclusive clubs and supporters groups get publicity. So I think it's about trying to minimise the damage done by social media and actually telling more positive stories, particularly in football, which, yes, does have issues, but it also is in many ways ahead of other sports.
The world of sport isn't limited to those playing on the pitch or even to the coaches and backroom staff. Indeed, sports media is another related industry where there is still a fight to be fought to get to the levels of inclusivity that there should be throughout. Despite a lack of representation in Europe, there have been incremental changes that allude to the current direction being an optimistic one for the future. There are some people in sport media that feel that there are steps still to be taken towards a more inclusive sporting future.
My name's John Holmes and I am the founder and lead of an industry network group, advisory and consultancy called Sports Media LGBT+.
In football, a growing cluster of high-profile players are speaking out and offering solidarity towards the LGBTQ+ community.
The thing that will hopefully make the culture more welcoming is the vocal allies that we have now in men's football, particularly. Players like Jordan Henderson, Connor Cody, Tyrone Mings, all these sorts of guys who are understanding that they have a platform, that the game has given them a platform, and then using their influence for a really positive social purpose.
Hi everyone, it's Josh Cavalli here. There's something personal that I need to share with everyone. I'm a footballer and I'm gay.
Here at Southampton Solent University, inclusivity is at the forefront of the focus for the sporting teams across the campus. Solent ladies player Beth Reed gave us an insight into just how she has been made to feel welcome here.
I spent 18 years of my life before university feeling different to everyone else because of my sexuality, but I've joined the team and everyone is so accepting and it's just a beautiful thing where no one judges you. It just feels so accepting.
And that's it from us today. A quick update on England. They're now 72-1 and lead by 8 runs. And the checkered flag has flown in the Formula 1 session. Carlos Sainz finished fastest ahead of Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll and Lewis Hamilton. That's all from us for today. We'll be back next weekend, same times, same place. Remember, you can keep up to date on the website solentjournalism.co.uk.